Hey guys, welcome back to another Marvel Champions video, and today we will not be talking about Hercules. He has been a ton of fun and I really enjoyed him, but there is a new guy in town and it's Wonderman. I am looking forward to this. I ordered him like a couple of days ago, expecting him to come in on the 10th through the 11th, and he came in today. So I'm really excited about this. I am kind of going in blind on this. Mostly I have looked at the article a little bit just to kind of see what I might be expecting with him coming in. But we're pretty much going in blind. So let's go ahead and get this guy open. I'm really excited. At first I wasn't too excited. I think just because when I was looking at the aspect that he was going to come with, Justice, I just wasn't super excited. But to find out, as I looked into it a little bit more, that he is a multi-aspect hero, I am much more excited. All right, so there is our hero pack, and of course our posters. So let's set this aside here, and like we did last time, we'll leave the box right there. All right, so now we have got his little poster here, and that's a pretty cool shot. I like that a lot. He's got his power fists. That looks super cool. And then of course he comes in and he's a Justice hero. Starts off with Justice, and he's got some fancy things going on. So let's go ahead and check him out. All right, here is our paper. We're going to just rip open here. Looks like we get extra aspect cards, which is super awesome. I don't know. I like the encounter sets, but I also love getting extra cards that I can play with. All right, so Simon Williams, Ionic Energy Being. You may include events with a printed energy resource icon from any aspect in your deck. That's really cool. We haven't seen anything quite like that yet, as far as like resource type. And then setup, you put Ionic Physiology into play. We'll check that out in a moment. He is a unique hero, Wonderman. 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 defense. And then he has Aerial and Avenger traits. Power Recycling. Wonderman gets +1 attack for each card tucked under Ionic Physiology. So we'll check that out here in a moment. And then Forced Response on the attack there. After Wonderman makes a basic attack, discard each card tucked under Ionic Physiology. Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting. I think this is going to be pretty cool. I like the fact that he's got 2 thwart. That means that he's pretty handy with threat removal. And then his attack gets buffed for each card tucked under Ionic Physiology. And we just have to figure out how that happens. So that's pretty snazzy. So there's Simon Williams, or Wonderman. All right, next card is Ionic Physiology. It has the fancy background here too, so I kind of like that. Since it has that, we'll go ahead and put this in a special sleeve just to kind of keep it separate. So it is a permanent card. Comes in during setup. Max 3 cards tucked under here, so I think that means that he gets a max of +3 to his attack. After you play an event with a printed energy resource, tuck that event from your discard pile under this card. Heal 1 damage from your identity. So playing event cards that have the energy resource is how this is going to happen. So he seems to be an event-based hero. So far, so good. All right. So our first event here, Active Altruism. Remove 1 threat from a scheme and remove 2 additional threat from that scheme for each energy resource you overpaid for this card. So not only are you going to be wanting to have these events, energy resource events being tucked under Ionic Physiology, but we are also wanting to use them to overpay for things. Okay, so that's pretty cool. We got 3 copies of Active Altruism. Then we get Ionic Blast. Deal 3 damage to an enemy. Deal 2 additional damage to that enemy for each energy resource you overpaid for this card to a maximum of 3 energy resources. So you could deal 3 and then add 2 for each energy resource you pay for it more. So if you pay an extra 1, you deal 5 up to a max of 6 extra. So you could deal 9 damage if you pay 4. That's not bad. Ionic Physiology is right there. Ionic Blast. We have 2 copies of that, so he's going to be more of a thwarter than a damage dealer, it seems like. And this one is a maximum of 2, so you can do a max of 5 threat, I think, for 2. It's not bad. Starstruck. Oh, this is another attack event. Deal damage to an enemy equal to your attack. If you overpaid for this card with an energy resource, stun that enemy. Oh, so this helps you keep those cards tucked under Ionic Physiology and not have to get rid of them right away. And there's some other cards that allow you to do that in aggression, which I think is super cool. Okay, so there's 3 copies of that. So there are 5 attack events in his kit, and you're going to be able to use them and tuck any of these events under Ionic Physiology because they're all energy resources. That's kind of cool. Energy Siphon. When you spin this card, take up to 3 damage. This card generates 1 additional energy resource for each damage taken this way. So you generate 1. If you take 3 damage, he has 12 hit points, so you're going to be willing to take some damage. You could generate 4 resources. 4 resources with Wonderman using Energy Siphon. That's pretty cool. I don't know many heroes that can generate that much energy or that many resources in their kit by themselves with 1 card. All right. Now we're coming into our first support here for him. Wonder Fans. Alter Ego action, so you have to pin Alter Ego for it. Exhaust Wonder Fans. Tuck 1 event with a printed energy resource from your discard pile under Ionic Physiology. So once you discard the cards under Ionic Physiology, you can get them back using Wonder Fans. Or you can draw a card. That's pretty good. I do like the draw card idea. Jet Belt is a 2-cost upgrade. It's a tech, so that you could use Fitzsimmons for it. Exhaust Jet Belt, generate an energy resource for an event. Or exhaust Jet Belt and discard a card tucked under Ionic Physiology to generate an energy resource for anything. So this is the resource generator, specifically more so for events. But if you're going to want to pay for anything, you can discard a card from under Ionic Physiology. I don't think that's going to be too much of an ask. That seems pretty cool. Mr. Hollywood. Now, this Mr. Hollywood title is definitely giving me an idea of needing to check out the Wonderman ally on our Sidekicked podcast. So I don't know if I don't remember if there's a Wonderman ally yet, but if there is, we definitely need to check him out because I need to know what this Mr. Hollywood is all about. So you generate an energy resource to overpay for a card. Specifically to overpay for a card. Interesting. So you have to generate the resources needed for that event. So for your Ionic Blast, you have to generate 1 resource. Same for Starstruck. But this allows you to overpay for stuff. That's definitely interesting. An item. Here we go. So this would be helpful for getting with Jubilee's side scheme. That's right. Side scheme. And then also not cell phone. I feel like there's some other things that you could get with pull the item out of your deck, but another hero with sunglasses anyways. Response. After you change form, choose tuck an event or a resource card with a printed energy resource from your discard pile under Ionic Physiology or add a card tucked under Ionic Physiology to your hand. That is super cool. I like that a lot. So there's that. The sunglasses seem to be really good for the heroes that have them. What are you? He's a 2-cost upgrade superpower. This is the final card in his kit. When Wonderman would be defeated, instead set his hit point dial to 4 and change him to alter ego form. You may tuck events with a printed energy resource from your discard pile under Ionic Physiology until there are 3 cards tucked there. Then remove this card from the game. Oh my gosh, that's kind of overpowered. That's super cool. That is super cool. I don't know how that's going to work or how easy that's going to be to trigger. But once you have that out, you're not really going to be caring about how much damage you take. And almost you might want to have your energy siphon deal the remaining hit point damage there and then flip down to alter ego, get the 4 health points, and then flip back up and you're ready to go. I don't know. That seems really cool to me. So that is his kit. Let's go ahead and get his Nemesis set and his obligation. All right, his obligation is pacifism. Give to the Simon Williams player. Wonderman cannot attack. Exhaust Simon Williams or discard 3 cards. This is alter ego. Tucked under ionic physiology to discard this card. So this can really slow you down because it's one that will keep coming back. Then we have Grim Reaper with Quick Strike. He's a 2/2 minion with 3 health. After Grim Reaper attacks and defeats an ally, deal that ally's controller a face-down encounter card. That's not too bad of a minion anyways. Quick Strike is annoying, but it's not too terrible. Here is the side scheme, brother versus brother. So I guess it seems that Grim Reaper is Simon Williams' brother. So there's that. An extra boost. And as an additional cost to attack Grim Reaper, you must discard 1 card from your hand. We definitely want to get rid of this before we're attacking Grim Reaper. I did forget to mention his hand size. 6 hand size, 5 hand size, and hero. A typical hand size. If only you were my real brother instead of this monstrosity you've become, Grim Reaper. Whoop! There go all my sleeves. All right, Scythe Strike. It's a treachery. If Grim Reaper is in play, he activates against you, otherwise take 2 indirect damage. Really not that bad. Death cannot die. When revealed, Grim Reaper activates against you. If Grim Reaper is not in play, find him and reveal him. And if you reveal him, his Quick Strike goes off. And there's 2 copies of that. So he's going to be recalled pretty easily. He's got 2 cards that are going to do that. And so then that's a boost here. I think that he would end up attacking you twice. Gosh. Okay. Well, this is the Wonderman kit with his Nemesis set and obligation. I think he looks really cool. I was a little concerned at first, but I think this is going to be a really cool kit to play with, and I definitely can't wait to get him on the table. I think he and Hercules are really, really cool for sure. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to cut here, and then we'll start going through the rest of the cards in his release set or pre-con. All right, so looking at it, we have all of his pre-con here, and then we've got some extra cards here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to look through all of them, and we won't consider these part of his pre-con, but they will definitely be looked at while we're looking at his pre-con. All right, so first up, we have Firebird, Bonita Juarez. She's a 2-cost ally. 2 thwart, takes 1 consequential for that. 2 attack, takes 2 consequential for that. She has 2 health. She's an aerial avenger. If I overpaid for Firebird, put 1 rebirth counter on her. So if you're paying 3 for her, you get to have a rebirth counter. So when Firebird would be defeated by consequential damage, remove 1 rebirth counter from her, heal all damage from her instead. Interesting. It's an interrupt, not a response. Hawkeye. Here we are. Hawkeye enters play with 4 arrow counters on him. After an ally makes a basic thwart, remove 1 arrow counter from Hawkeye to deal 2 damage to a minion. I love Hawkeye. He's my favorite hero, and this card does him justice. Pun definitely intended. I think I'm going to like playing Justice more because of this ally. He's 3 cost, Clint Barton, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 3 health, Avengers, and Shield. Definitely like this ally. I definitely like this ally. I think he's even potentially better than his leadership ally that came early. I think even in the core set, if I'm not mistaken. We got Scarlet Witch, another 2-cost ally here. Wanda Maximoff, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 1 consequential for each, 3 health, Avengers Mystic. Forced response, after you play Scarlet Witch, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If it is a treachery card, resolve its when revealed ability. So there's a little bit of a danger there, but 2 for a 2/2 is not bad. And she's in for 3. So she can do 3 activations for you, or 2 activations and a block. All right, now we've got Sentry here. 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 3 attack, 1 consequential for each, 5 health. He's an aerial avenger. After Sentry enters play, search the encounter deck for a side scheme and reveal it. If no side scheme was revealed this way, place 6 threat on the main scheme. If you're playing Injustice, that's really not the worst, because you can clear side schemes fairly easily, especially in solo. And then 6 threat on the main, that's kind of big, but I don't feel like that's too much of a problem there. And his name is Robert Reynolds. All right, now we've got a few copies here of Battlefield Benevolence. Heal 2 damage from an enemy to confuse that enemy. That is definitely an interesting idea there. So, I mean, if you're playing with Float Like a Butterfly, that may be okay, because you're dealing an extra damage for each attack you do. If you heal 2 damage, you're easily recovering that damage just from the confused. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Battlefield Benevolence. That is a physical resource, though, so that really, it's only in his kit because he's playing Injustice as his precon. Bombs away. Exhaust an aerial character you control and choose a player. Deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. That is a reprint. And I kind of like that. I really like the artwork on it. It's got all of the different Iron Man suits. Looks like they're being controlled. I don't know if that's by Ultron or if that's by Iron Man himself, but that's super cool. I definitely like that artwork. Everywhere, all at once. X cost event. Play only if your identity has the aerial trait. Does Wonderman have the aerial trait? He does. He's an aerial avenger. Choose X schemes. Remove 2 threat from each chosen scheme. 3 threat instead if you overpaid for this card. That's an interesting concept, because in a way, you're almost always overpaying for the card. I guess it just depends on however many schemes you choose, and if you want to remove 3 threat, you have to pay 1 extra. That's actually a really cool card. Say you play this in Jubilee, you remove... I really like to liken things back to Jubilee just because she's one of my favorite heroes. So you pay for this, and say you pay for it with physical, energy, mental, and a wild. So that's 4. You get to choose... Say you choose 3 schemes, then you've overpaid for 4 by 1 extra. So you're removing 3 threat from 3 schemes. So it's 9 threat in one go. That completes a lot of side schemes, typically, in solo, mind you. But then you also have her coat, which will trigger and remove threat from another scheme based on the resources that you played. I have to go back and look back at that and see exactly how that all works, but I think that would be a really cool card to use in Jubilee's kit. We get Stronger Together. When a character other than your hero would take any amount of damage, if that character shares a trait with your hero, reduce the damage by your defense. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Because now you're like... You're protecting your allies without having to take damage yourself. Plus, you're not having to exhaust to defend. So if you've got let's say Sentry out there, and he's defending for you, so he exhausts for this. You can reduce it by, say, for him, you can reduce it by 2, which could save Sentry or another activation or something like that. That's definitely going to be a good starting card until you're ready to get fully set up. Unified Strike. When an ally uses a basic power, exhaust your hero. Add your hero's matching power to that ally's power for this use. That ally does not take consequential damage for this. I I like that a lot too. Keeping your allies healthy. It does use you, but you're getting your activation out of it anyways. And if you're playing a hero that doesn't really need that activation, it's not a problem. Here comes my favorite card that they've recently come out with. And I say favorite card, I just really like these extra hit point cards that we've been getting. I wish they had one in leadership, but I do like the ones that they've had in protection, aggression, and now justice. With the heroic conditioning, you get +3 hit points and +1 fort. That, to me, is really cool. I love the fact that you get the extra hit points. Now we've got our ally here, or an ally swordsman, Jacques Duquesnes, 4 cost swordsman, 2 thwart, 2 consequential, 2 attack, 1 consequential, but his attacks gain piercing. After a boost card is turned face up during an undefended attack, declare swordsman as the defender without exhausting him. Now, I don't know much about Jacques Duquesnes. It just seems like I thought he was a villain because he's swordsman, but maybe it's a different swordsman than I was thinking. I thought swordsman was the guy that trained Hawkeye, and he was a villain. I don't know. And now we've got our doubles here. Ooh, we only have 1 double in this kit. That's interesting. Of course, it's the energy double. You're not really wanting to use physical or mental in this kit too much. And we've got Jarvis, a 2-cost support here. After an Avenger hero changes into alter ego form, exhaust Jarvis. Choose that identity gets +2 recovery until the end of phase, or discard a status card from that identity. Interesting. Okay. It could definitely be really interesting. Now, this is going to be the end of his precon, and we are getting into the extra cards that came with him. Caught in the Crossfire is a 0-cost upgrade. Attached to a non-elite minion, max 1 per minion. When the friendly character attacks, deal 1 damage to attached minion. That is just the way I love to play. It feels like a troll move. I don't know why. It really does. There we go. And 3 copies of that. Now, the card that I have really been waiting for here. Cameo. Setup, max 1 per deck. Search your collection for identity-specific ally for an identity not in this game. Shuffle that ally into your deck. Discard 2 cards from your hand and remove this card from the game. So it's a setup card. And I guess, like, technically it would count against your deck, but it's a setup, so you're going to have it out to begin with, and then it immediately gets removed from the game. So if you're looking for a pretty cool ally and you want to sidekick them, or you just really like to use them and you think they would combo well with a hero, Cameo's your card. I really want to build into this in some way. Coordinated effort. 0-cost leadership upgrade. Attached to an encounter card in play. Max 1 per encounter card. While paying costs on attached card, any player may help pay those costs. Okay, I don't know about that. I'm not sure if that's a huge one, but maybe when you're in multiplayer and say you have the mental and physical and somebody else has the energy needed to remove something, that's not bad. Cool, so I like that. We're going to go ahead and put these in a stack here just because I don't want to mix them in with the precon. Disarming defense. When your hero defends against an attack, it gets +2 for that attack. If you take no damage, discard an attachment on the attacking enemy with the text hero action or hero response. I love this card because you're not having to pay costs for certain things, and it makes things really easy. But you're really going to have to think about the villain you're playing when you play this card, because there's not going to be any point in trying to play this card to get rid of a hero action or hero response attachment just because of the fact that some villains don't come with those. And if you're facing a villain that doesn't have that, then there's no point in putting this in your deck. And of course, we have 3 copies of that. I do love these types of events, as I said. And then we've got another copy here of Avengers Compound, which is a card that also came in Hercules kit. It says, play only if your identity has the Avenger trait, max 1 per deck. Exhaust Avengers Compound, choose tuck an ally from your hand here, if there's no ally tucked here, or play the ally tucked here as if it were in your hand. I like this. I think it's really only going to help in certain instances, like when you have cards in your hand and you're like, I don't know which ones are going to matter the most. You trigger this. It allows you to keep that ally around, and you don't have to worry about like discarding them. But I feel like that's just very niche. So I'm not sure how I feel about this card. It may be a good card. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of Avengers Compound and if you tend to use it in your builds or not. That is Wonderman's kit, his precon, everything that came with him. And like I said before, I'm really looking forward to getting on the table. I think he's going to be a lot of fun. There may be a few cards that I take out of here, especially since I'm going in solo. I don't think I will do Battlefield Benevolence. And I'll probably take 2 copies of the Heroic Conditioning out. But I'll check everything else out and just see what I want to do to build in the rest of this kit. I think it'll be a good kit to use. I don't think it's a bad precon. I think it just, if you're going to be doing solo play, you don't need some of these cards. But almost, well, you've got 3 aerial characters in his kit. So Bombs Away is helpful. Everywhere All at Once is helpful. And then Stronger Together, I like the idea. I don't know how it's going to work when you're using it. I do love the fact that I can pull in events from other aspects that have the energy resource icon. So I'm going to have to look into that, see what cards we already have in our collections that will allow us to bring into Wonderman's kit and just see what happens. I think this is a really cool idea. I really like it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, what you think of Wonderman. Are you a Wonderman fan? Are you a Wonder fan? Or are you more excited about Hercules? I really enjoyed playing Hercules. I want to get him back on the table also, but I'm looking forward to getting Wonderman on the table. I wasn't sure I was going to at first, but after looking more in depth at his cards, I think it's going to be a good time. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.